This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
All right, at this time, if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Perry.
Here.
Councilmember Roy.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sippel.
Here.
Mayor Simonson.
Here. All right. Let's see. First we have a proclamation supporting the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2017 statewide crackdown. Whereas approximately 1/3 of all fatal traffic crashes in the United States involve drunk drivers, and whereas impaired driving crashes cost the United States almost $45 billion a year, and whereas 29% of motor vehicle fatalities in New Jersey in 2014 were alcohol related, and whereas an enforcement crackdown is planned to combat impaired driving, and whereas the summer season and the Labor Day holiday in particular are traditionally times of social gatherings which include alcohol, and whereas the state of New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety has asked law enforcement agencies throughout the state to participate in the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2017 statewide crackdown, and whereas the project will involve increased impaired driving enforcement from August 18th through September 4th of 2017, and whereas an increase in impaired driving enforcement and a reduction in impaired driving will save lives on our roadways. Now therefore, be it resolved that Lower Township Mayor and Council declare our support for the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2017 statewide crackdown from August 18th through September 4th, 2017, and we pledge to increase awareness of the dangers of drinking and driving. Thank you. And now we get to the fun portion of our evening. I see we have the superintendent of schools for Lower Cape May Regional, Chris Kovic, in the back, and Greg Lasher, our principal at Richard M. Titleman School, in the house, as well as we have a couple students, that one still in Richard M. Titleman and one moving on to the high school, to represent our Builders Club with Mr. Schulte, Paul Schulte. We also have members of our Historic Preservation Society, and it is at this time we are going to present a plaque to both organizations that will be, the plaque will be on display at the cemetery permanently, so that anyone that comes through the Union Bethel Cemetery will see the work or understand who did the work as far as the beautification project that was carried out by the Richard M. Titleman Builders Club and our own Lower Township Preservation, Historical Preservation Society. So at this time, we want to do the presentation first, or we have some slides to show, or no? Okay, well then what we'll do is we'll present the plaque first. We do have a short presentation to show that some of the work that's being done continuously there, and that is the beautification of the headstones themselves. Our Historic Preservation Society is still hard at work, cleaning up headstones. I know Mr. Schulte has spoken with local agencies that are going to help replace some of the headstones that are broken or unreadable. We also have a project in the very near future for the students at Lower Cape May Regional, as well as Richard M. Titleman School. It's a program that Mr. Kovic has endorsed, and it's basically there's going to be cue cards, and there's going to be barcodes on each of the headstones, and you can use an app off your phone to click on these barcodes, and our students are going to make some documentation as far as the history of the person buried there, the soldier, their contributions, where they lived, and as much information as they can find and research that they do is going to be put onto these cue cards, and you will be able to access that as you go through Union Bethel Cemetery, which is going to be, obviously, for lack of a better word, really cool. All right, so at this time, I'm going to have, we have a couple students. I see Nick and Robbie here. Anyone else I missed? I don't see anybody else. If Mr. Schulte, our Historic Preservation Committee, also would come up, and council, if you would join me down below. Not a demonstration. So, when I spoke to, I guess it was Rudy from the Historic Preservation Committee. Yes. Big enough now, I guess. Yeah, so when we spoke, we thought instead of bringing the students up and the members of the committee and giving them more paper to add to their collection, because I know our students got many proclamations from our senator as well as assemblymen and freeholders. So I thought it might be a neat idea to have something that they could go back years after and, would still be something there to represent the work that they did. So this is symbolic. I think we may get a more permanent, I know Mr. Schulte's working on a more permanent monument to be installed there permanently. But at this time, myself and council and our manager, Ridgway, would like to present both the Richard M. Titleman Builders Club and our Lower Township Historic Preservation Committee with this plaque that states, "This veteran cemetery has been lovingly re-beautified by the RMT Middle School Builders Club and Lower Township Historic Preservation Commission." So at this time, I'd like to present it to both groups. All right, you can come on up. In fact, why don't you guys come up so we can get a picture? You can hold this, and then, like I said, I know we may have a more permanent placement for this. Here, why don't you guys hold it right there in front? There you go. Get some pictures. Smile, pretty. All right, once again, we want to thank everybody for the hard work they did there. I want to thank Mr. Lasher and Mr. Kovic for coming out. Good job, guys. Good job. Thank you. And also, just to cap it, we're recently working with the Mid-Atlantic Center for the Arts.
Good.
Also, we're producing a video that basically highlights all the historic places in Lower Township, and it's a great contribution from the Mid-Atlantic Center for the Arts, and it's currently under works. When will that be finished? Shortly?
Well, we should have a video completed probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But Mr. Schulte, we would like to have someone, could be your students and yourself, be a spokesperson that we could meet at the cemetery, because we have a piece on the lighthouse, we have Cold Spring Village, there's work at a town bank, and to add that, I'd like to get the digital team, which is the Coast radio station's video team that's doing it, and they shot today at the World War II bunker. But if next week sometime, you and a spokesperson, we could knock it out in 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, I think it would be a nice snippet. And is there a chance that this gentleman can bring his hat too? Because he was a great spokesman, and that was a fine day in Lower Township when the freeholders and all were there. And great job, guys.
Thanks, guys. And at this time, you really don't have to stay for the rest of it because it's usually not very interesting.
Well, they have the presentation, I think.
But, oh yeah, do we have the video yet? Because I know there was a question. All right, we're all set, all right. I will wait till they get up and running. Don't lose that, Nick. All right, we have the pictures up there that mount it. So, again, we're going to start the meeting in a moment, but we'll take a minute or a couple minutes if you'd like to check out. I know some of the work that has been done in cleaning up the headstones. I know there's been a lot of work put in over there to, we use a special, I know they got special cleaner for the headstones, which removes hundreds of years of weathering and you know, who knows what else is growing on some of those headstones. So you can see we have it displayed right here, and at a later meeting we'll show that. We can show that at during a work session at a later meeting, and we'll make sure PowerPoint's got to be installed on there. All right. So if you want, feel free to get up and check it out. We'll give you a minute, and then we're going to move on with business. Anyone that wants to stay is welcome, but you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting if you don't want to. Council, you do, by the way.
Not fair.
Don't try to sneak out over there.
Mr. Softy.
Actually, I'm going to take a minute. I want to see I want to see a little.
There was a lot of work over there. They pulled out so many 30-yard dumpsters. It was great.
Yeah.
I went there the one day, and Mike Rosenberg was over there.
Julie.
Forms and all that stuff, and they were still in there yanking stuff out. So
Yeah. Oh, it's a ton of work.
It was a lot of work.
Interesting. Clean the headstones. I gotta clean some headstone cleaner should probably work. I gotta ask Eric about that. Oh, really? He knows what they're using. Has he been here before? First time. I need it because yeah, I was talking to you. Went to the I may do it with interior reno. Knock on doors.
Once again, thanks for coming out. I know it's the end of the summer, but we appreciate it. All right, at this time, we can move down to the consent agenda, please. Any comments or questions from council regards to the consent agenda? Nope. Seeing none, we open it to the public portion of consent agenda. If you have any comments, please come up to the microphone, state your name and your address.
Mike Rosenberg, 100 Coral Road, Villas. I see on the agenda there's some things for pump stations and also Roseanne Avenue that collapsed. Find out what's going on. with
I
that.
can talk about the pump station. I'm going to let Councilman Perry talk about Roseanne.
Roseanne Avenue, there was a collapse in existing storm drain in that road, which we knew has been a problem. But we don't have the permit yet to do any work there. And then we had a collapse, so we had to do an emergency repair on the pipe. There was actually, it was a sinkhole directly behind somebody's driveway. So we had to get contractors out there to assist in getting that repaired immediately.
And I'll finish with the pump stations. We're working with the MUA. Several of our pump stations are in need of repair. It's been outdated, and they want to, basically, they're doing a couple at a time, and they're replacing each one. In order to do that, we're working with them. They need a small cities grant. It's complicated. We can give you more information if after the meeting if you need it. But basically, our grant coordinator, we're working with the MUA in order to get these grants that will pay for the replacing of the pump stations that need to be replaced.
They used to be called pass-through grants. We did it before for other agencies. It's just they have to go through the township for them to get it. They can't just get it on their own.
The collapse on Roseanne Avenue, was that part of the project, or?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Help alleviate that?
It wasn't part of the project. It was about a block closer to Bay Shore Road where this particular sinkhole took place. So we're looking at the whole picture also with extending to that, but they sealed that off, and we're looking forward to getting the work there.
I mean, in some way, it's a blessing in disguise because, we could have gotten all that work done, and then it could have happened. So now they're looking at replacing the whole all the way up to Bay Shore. So thank you. That's a good question. Any other questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none?
Approval of minutes from the August 7th, 2017 meeting. Approval of the closed session minutes from the August 7th, 2017 meeting. And approval of resolutions 2017-226 through 2017-243.
Can I get a motion to pass the,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
yes.
On the regular agenda, resolution number 2017-244. This is a resolution authorizing the payment of vouchers in the amount of $10,000, and this is payment to Lower Township Rescue.
Any questions from council?
Recused.
I figured that.
Yep,
All right.
but this way it's public.
Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, close that portion. Do I need a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Councilmember Conrad?
Recused.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes. Move down to council comments. So start with Councilman
Keep it kind
Conrad.
of short. I don't know if anybody's really noticed, and I'm surprised she's kind of not here. Adelia Jonas, owner of the Domino's, getting a lot of attention. She's been getting attention before for being one of the best Domino's owners in the country, especially the region. But here in this tiny little town of Villas, she's been on 2 different Domino's commercials everywhere. She's a wonderful lady. She's out there with the community all the time. If you can, go stop by and say hello. She's done a wonderful job there. Been walking a lot, rehabbing, and walking through. There's some things you notice that could use some work, or possibly have somebody come look at it, see if there's problems. But then again, I'm also noticing the natural beauty of this area and how well everything's looking. Get out there, enjoy yourselves. It's a beautiful time of year. We live in a beautiful area. We got the Coxhaw Creek Wildlife Management Area, what they call the Cape May Point State Park, even though it's ours. There's all kinds of other areas just to walk, or even just along Bay Shore or along the beach. It's a wonderful place. Go enjoy it while we can. Other than that, we got the one last concert. Oh, and speaking of the problems, if there are problems, please call your councilman or call the township directly. We can't fix problems unless we know of them. And some of them can be silly. Some are people don't know that they're going against the code. But we try to work with them. If there's an issue, please call us, let us know.
The only thing, a few short comments. First of all, I can't believe that summer's almost over. A couple more weeks and we're at Labor Day, and getting into the fall. I'm hoping that we receive a permit for Roseanne Avenue, hopefully within the next couple weeks, if possible. From what I understand, there's just a few ends that have to be tied together, so to speak, for that permit to be released, and that's being in the process of taking care of right now. So hopefully we can get that permit for that and get that project started. And we, as the mayor had stated, we found some things that we didn't really know that we had further issues there. So we're looking into that to get that taken care of. Also, I am in the process of making a list of county roads that are in our area that may not be being addressed this year, but I want to try to get that on the county's agenda for 2018. And there's some bad areas, and the road I travel every day is Town Bank Road. From the Bay to Bayshore Road is in really bad shape. And I get it, there's been a lot of work done on the road with underground piping and gas and so on and so forth, but that road also needs to be addressed. So that's one I've on my list now. As Councilman Conrad had stated, that if you see any roads in the area that you think that need to be addressed, contact the manager's office or contact one of your council people, so we can look into it to see if it's a township road or a county road or some cases a state road, so we can make the necessary communications to the proper authorities to be able to see if we can get them put on a list to get fixed. But Town Bank Road's been in pretty bad shape for a while, and it's really bad. So some of the things we're working on to try to get the roads squared away. I know it's been an issue. Other than that, that's all I have.
Councilman Roy?
The only thing I would like to say is I'd like to give praise and thank you to the many people that did participate with the beautification of the Union Bethel Cemetery. I had been out there on one occasion and watched the workers hard at work. A little bit of blood was spilled. These people were timeless in their dedication, and the community and council, thank you very much for your efforts. Congratulations on your plaque. I'm sure it'll be proudly displayed, and it'll be a future attraction for many to come by and take solace in the people that are buried there. Give thanks. So again, thank you very much for your efforts.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to touch base on the summer concert series, huge success this year. I'm sure the mayor's going to talk about it also. But we have a very important concert coming up on the 30th of August. Thanks, Mayor. And it's to raise money for the youth of Lower Township. And, I want to give an attaboy to the manager's office and the recreation department for stepping up, partner with the Optimist Club to make this happen. So it's going to be a good night. So, I encourage as many people as possible to get out there. The proceeds from the concert will go directly into account for the kids of Lower Township. So it's going to be a good night. I'm looking forward to it.
It's good stuff.
Mayor.
Yes. Go ahead.
First off, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you gentlemen, because you know how long we've waited, that the county in the past 2 weeks have answered a lot of citizens' concerns. Town Bank Road, Seashore Road repairs, the repairs in front of Cold Spring Village, Academy Road, the north end of the Villas. We're anxiously awaiting action between McDonald's and the PNC Bank, and we're at the top of the list now for the road improvements on Fulling Mill up to the Wawa, down to the, I think it's a CVS or Walgreens there, but it's nice to see all the work the county's been doing. Even in North Cape May, we've had limited responses about the gas lines being repaired. It was desperately needed. These lines, some instances, were 40, 50 years old, and they've done probably, Councilman Perry, I'd say 15, 16 roads. They get in and they get out in the same day, and it's infrastructure work that was needed. Moving in a different direction, a couple months ago, I had asked you about adding some help part-time in code enforcement. And although it's still early to tally up the scorecards, in 2016, the month of June, we had 75 inspections of properties in the township where they had to go to the homes and talk to the owners. This June, that was up to 166 inspections. In our construction office, which many of you might have had a few calls saying our permits are taking 14 days, 17 days, etc. Well, I had asked for numbers on Thursday for July in the construction office, and to say that they've been busy with permits is certainly an understatement. In 2016, the permit fees totaled $30,500. This summer in July, the permits were over $50,000. That's 20,000 or over 60% increase in the amount of construction that's going on in our township, which is a job well done for that month. We had a conference call today with the Army Corps as we continue our battle with FEMA. The conference call was with the Army Corps, Scott Sanderson, looking to potential dredging in the middle of the bay and helping us with a dune/berm in the future, looking at numbers, and I'll be giving you updates on that this afternoon. More information came back from them. Lastly, animal control. There's always comments, where's animal control? It wasn't great reading this weekend, but in looking at their report for the month, and the fact that they had 240-some visits, they also had a very active month. It's been an active month in Lower Township, and again, as Councilman Perry said, I can hardly believe it either. We have 2 weeks left in the summer. This Wednesday's concert, the Journey Tribute, should draw over 2,000 people to the ferry. And the concert for the Recreation Department the last week of the month, I think, will be outstanding with local favorites, 1201, and one of the best bands right now in the Philly area, Lima Bean Riot, coming down. So we have a nice 1-2 punch to round out the summer, and thank you.
All right. I know you touched on the roads. We also have Seashore Road from Sandman School to the bridge, as well as the south side of the canal, Seashore Road, from the bridge down to the railroad tracks, and then they will continue that in the West Cape May as well. I know they just received some easements from West Cape May to put sidewalks in there as well. I wanted to give a shout out to a couple people. Last weekend, during a real bad storm, I got a call from Jack Moran from Cito, to give me the heads up that a gentleman had run his sailboat ashore over in Diamond Beach on our beach. To make a long story short, he was very instrumental in helping out. I got a hold of Gary Douglas in our Public Works. Dave Lepore and a group from Public Works went over there right away and were able to pull it up the beach with the help of also Jim Yost, who is, had a Sea Point Village over there, and some of their people that also pitched in to help out. Because what had happened, the tide was coming in. Mr. Moran called if the boat had filled up with water, we would have had a whole different issue on our hands. And rather than the township getting a nice big hefty bill for the whole project, we were able to take care of it and keep that from happening. Of course, it's still we're still waiting on some things, but it's beached over there. I talked to Jim Yost yesterday, and just want to thank everyone. I know the weather was not good. It was during the torrential downpours and the storm that these guys went over and hauled that up out of the surf. in order to save any further damage, not just of the boat, but of other areas of washing up on the beaches and other things safety-wise. Other than that, we look forward to this video. We're working hand in hand with Mid-Atlantic Center for the Arts, which is nice. They've always been thought of as a Cape May organization, but they do also, are reaching out to Lower Township, and we're all working together. And this video should be pretty cool. We're going to play it on our local channel. It's like we stated before, it's going to hit all the local historic sites in Lower Township, especially the ones that people don't realize are actually in Lower Township. So it'll be a nice tribute to our town, and we appreciate their help as well with the video. So with that being said, at this point, we will open up the public portion. If anyone has any comments, please feel free to come up to the microphone. Just state your name and your address, please. Anyone? Sure, come on up.
Dan Anderson, Town Bank Road. I understand that you got more help in code enforcement, but why do I have to call in the same property? This will be the third time I've called in this year. I called it in 3 times last year. The same property. Why?
Well,
Don't they have a list of these properties that they can go check them themselves? I have to keep calling in the same property all the time. 313 Town Bank.
As I told you last year, when it comes to people's grass, we come out, we cut their grass, but guess what? In a matter of 2 to 3 weeks, in some instances, they get told, and we bring them into court. Wally's in the court almost every week, but grass does grow again.
Oh, yeah.
During the rainy season, it's not just 316 Town Bank Road.
313.
There's 100 of these properties out there, and we do the best that we can with grass, but what it takes in many instances is a fine, and that's been happening. And they come in, but usually give the people 30 days to remedy their situation. Quite frankly, if they wait 30 days to cut their grass, I know myself, I can't wait 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
So there's 10,000 lawns, and some of the people are tenants, and you notify the owner. It's an unbelievable task with grass. And we have contractors, when it gets too bad, like, I'm not talking what you're talking, when we're talking 3 feet, 4 feet, that we don't do that work. We sub it out. We have liens against these properties. When these people go to make a move, they'll be paying us back $800, $600, $1,000, but it's not a battle that I think we're losing, but it's a battle that doesn't go away if we had someone on every street.
But what I mean is, don't they have a list that they can go back and check? I have to call it in.
I'll be honest with you. I've sat with these gentlemen, and when they go out in some instances, as in this Saturday when I was here, you spend the whole morning on 2 streets in the villas just with one house, because you have to get the police involved. Then it's not just a 5-minute situation. It's a frustration. And I hear you. I've tried to follow up every time you've asked.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to follow up. I can tell you that I know in that situation the person has been cited. So, and why people would want to pay those fines or have liens put against your property, I can't answer that either.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Anderson, we will talk to them about possibly developing a list of obviously frequent flyers
a list.
or a database of those that, it would have to be a certain amount of times, obviously, like a property you're talking about, and just have them check on a regular basis, whatever that may be, like every 2 weeks or whatever it is. So
Okay.
we'll look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Sure.
Ray Flickinger, Washington Boulevard, North Cape May. This weekend, I observed the pipe that runs out, the outflow pipe that's going out to Washington, this is the first weekend I've seen this happen. I felt it was very dangerous, and I talked to other people. There was a group of kids, about 6, 7 kids, I'd say 13 to 16. Because it's gotten so deep, it's at the end of the pipe, it's like 7 foot above. So, of course, the water's coming up. It's been coming up quite a bit. It's been eroding some of the dunes around that area. Well, they're going out there and they're using it as a diving board. I don't know what can be done to stop it or anything like that. Some of them just go out there to sit there, but quite a few of them, and quite a few of the people. In fact, I had mentioned to them, I said, it's dangerous there, what you're doing, because, actually there's some bolts and all that still stick out that were never cut off on it. I don't know what could be the thing, but I don't know who's the liability on that kind of thing happening. Some of them sit up there just eating, drinking sodas and all, but when I seen them diving off of it and then repeatedly going back over it, boom, boom, it's a rounded pipe, very easy to slip off of it. So I just want to make you aware of that.
Ray, I'll
I don't know if anything can be to help.
take Gary Douglas out there to take a look at it and see if
Yeah.
there's
I
something.
think it's the only pipe along there that's out of the water like that because of the erosion, but it's always been higher than the others when when they extended it, a few years ago.
I'll check it out.
Okay?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we close the public portion.
Resolution number 2017-245, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss litigation matters, specifically the FEMA issue.
I will make a motion and ask for a second.
I'll second that motion.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simons?
Yes.